Hi everyone! Today we're here with Adriana to discuss our new project which aims to restore butterfly meadows or a butterfly meadow, in Slovakia. Yeah. and just so no one gets confused during our filming, both of us have bees in our houses at the moment, so if you see anything flying around, it's just the bees. No worries.
Yeah, I have two at the moment. There was just one in the morning, but now she invited a friend over, so they're keeping me company.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, could you please explain to us first a bit about the place where this project is going to be?
Yes. So the site is called Beckovske Skalice in Slovak. It's named after a castle, basically. That's quite close to the area. It's essentially this like small hill range that's situated in this river floodplain. So you can imagine that basically the surrounding landscape is quite heavily used for agriculture, and it's also quite urbanized. And then in the middle we have this hill where we have this protected Natura 2000 site. It's a part of the network of European protected areas. And essentially on one end we have our site, and then further down there is this beautiful castle. So it's a very picturesque area, as well as it is important for biodiversity, because it acts as this biodiversity refuge in this heavily managed and used surrounding landscape.
Okay. So in this area, what is going to be the purpose of our project?
So even though this is a protected area, if if we just let it be as it is and take its own course, it would not actually be good for the species that we are trying to protect there, and these are butterflies. Researchers have found almost 70 different species of butterflies there, and they're looking. They're now, doing research on what species of moths can live here or live here, and we're expecting that at least just as many moths will be found here. So it's a really nice kind of insect refuge, and if we just let this area be, basically we would lose the habitat that these butterflies require. So if we kind of took a bigger picture at the problems that insects are facing in Europe, and the insect decline that we are seeing, there are several reasons for this. The obvious reason is heavy pesticide use, and this is being talked about quite a lot. And then we have habitat loss. So these species are losing places where they can survive. And there are two reasons for habitat loss, and one is habitat destruction. So we see that grasslands and meadows are being turned into arable cropland, and or succumb to urbanization. But there is also another problem, and that is land abandonment. So when the land is basically not being managed, this is also bad for insects, because insects require basically this light grazing by herbivores to maintain the conditions, the perfect conditions for them. And if land is abandoned, then we see that shrubs come in, and trees, and these meadows and places where insects survive, and especially pollinators, get overgrown, basically. And this is what's happening at our site as well. So back in the day, it used to be used for grazing husbandry animals, but then this was abandoned, and now we see that the area is overgrowing with shrubs and with native acacia trees.
Okay. So the purpose of the project would be to then restore this area to what it was, or like with the grazers, right?
Yes, I mean, in conservation it's always tricky because it's about finding that baseline scenario, and that depends on how far back in the future we look. But like in general, if we look historically, then and if we imagine the European landscape back in the day, several thousand years ago, we would see, or we would find these large herds of grazing animals, like these mega herbivores, and they would roam the countryside. They would move freely between open grasslands, and they would also graze in forests, and they would keep basically the edges of the forests grazed and open with sunlight coming in. And this is the habitat that we are looking to restore and maintain in our sites. So these are called wood pastures, and it's kind of a transition zone between open grasslands and closed canopy forests. And there is this ancient wood or oak woodland there at the site, and the problem now is that it's very overgrown. So there is no light coming in, and we don't have any of these plants that these butterflies require in the understory. So our aim is to remove these shrubs and these non-native trees, open it up a little bit, let the sunlight in, and then bring back the grazing animals. So then they will maintain these conditions that our butterflies require.
Okay, yeah. So these grazing animals, they affect the plants that the butterflies.
Yes, exactly.
Need,
exactly.
Right?
So.
Yeah.
If we want to protect the butterflies, we need to basically create conditions for the plants that they require for their survival and to complete their life cycle. And butterflies are very interesting in the sense that they are very specialist. So usually one species of butterfly will only feed on one specific species of a host plant, or not the butterfly, the adult butterfly, but the larva of the butterfly. So the female butterfly, she will only lay eggs on one specific species or family of plants. Let's say the thyme, Thema family. But yes, some of these butterflies are so specialized that they will only search out a specific species of plant. And this is where they will lay eggs, and this is the only plant that the larva will eat. So when we think about restoring habitats for butterflies, we need to actually think about what conditions do their host plants like. And many of these species of butterflies that are declining all over Europe, they require plants that require grazing. So they thrive in conditions where grazing animals are present. And it's because, for instance, they like to grow in like short kind of vegetation cover, or they grow in areas that have been disturbed, where the soil has been disturbed by the hooves of the animals. Or, to go like even further, the larva of the butterfly will only feed on this pupae, or on these like fresh buds of the plants, but the plant only creates these fresh buds if it's grazed regularly. If it's not grazed, it goes into like another stage, is this like vegetative stage, and it will stop creating these fresh buds. So even though we have this species present there on the site, like we when we visited, we could see that we have this one species that I can't remember the name of in English, but anyway, we found it there. It was there, but it was not in the form that the butterfly could use it, because the site has not seen grazers for a very long time. So this plant has turned into this vegetative state. But once we bring back the grazers, and they will, like nibble the plant a little bit, it will start producing this like fresh buds, and then the butterflies can come and lay their eggs on it.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's so complex.
Nature is crazy. It's incredible. The more you study it, and then the more you learn, the more you find out that we know so little about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the grazers play a very important role. But what about the role of Mossy Earth in this project? And also we have a partner, right? So what is their role in this project?
Yes, so for this project we're partnering with BROZ. They are our Slovak partner, and we've done a few successful projects together, mainly on restoring wetlands. So now we are kind of moving into grasslands together, and our role here is as a co-financer. So we will be helping them finance this activity. And so we are paying for the removal of the trees. This is quite a labor-intensive work because imagine you have this forest, and you have this old oaks there, and maybe some chestnuts, and you have some trees that you want to keep there, but then you have a lot of shrubs, and you have a lot of acacia trees growing there. So it requires a lot of man work and like really kind of delicate management to take out what you want to take out and to not destroy what you want to preserve. So this is a big part of the job, is to like clear and open these wood pastures, and then we are also sponsoring the grazing infrastructure, so we can have these grazers there.
Okay, so what kind of grazers are we gonna have there? I know, like, we can't have the, like, back in the days with the bison and everything.
Yes.
So what is it gonna be?
So it's it would be ideal to release some wild horses or bison there, but it's not logistically possible because we have the highway quite close, and the village, and these crops. So in these cases, we can use husbandry animals, and essentially they fulfill the same role. So we'll be bringing back goats and sheep, and possibly donkeys as well, and each of them have a little bit different function. So for instance, the goats, they can access harder terrain as well, and they like to climb rocks, and if you, some of the places are quite like hilly and rocky, and this is what the goats like, and they can climb up to parts where maybe the sheep wouldn't get to. But on the other hand, the sheep they kind of act as mowers, so they like to go and graze the grass and keep it quite short. And the donkeys, they are browsers, so they will eat the let's say maybe the small acacia trees if they're coming back. So they will keep the non-native trees at bay, and together they're kind of a grazing team, and teamwork makes the dream work. So. So we are also thinking about the different function that these herbivores can have.
Okay, so what about? I know that usually with these projects, there's a lot of research that has been done before, and other preparations. So could you tell us something about that?
So in terms of research, the site has been it's being visited by researchers yearly, and they're monitoring the species. And so far, they found more or less 70 species of butterflies, as I said. Some of them are disappearing very quickly because the conditions that they require are disappearing from the landscape. So we are also seeing some extinction processes happening, but that's a problem in the wider landscape and in Europe in general. Some species are still present but in very low numbers, and we're hoping that by improving the conditions of this habitat and extending this habitat, we will also help the species, to grow in numbers. But in terms of like other preparations or other type of research, this is an intervention that's been tried and tested. So this is, we know from a wealth of evidence and past experience that this is needed for butterfly and pollinator conservation, is to bring back grazers into open landscapes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what about then? What kind of challenges or problems could you see that might happen with this project? Are there any challenges that could happen?
So the biggest challenge with this kind of conservation grazing is financial sustainability, because we are not keeping the animals to make money. So there is like no money being generated from this. So it's basically it's a conservation goal that we want to achieve, and we need to bring grazing back. So there, the financial sustainability is something that we always need to consider and think about, because the animals need to be maintained. There are some expenses with keeping the animals over the winter and feeding them. So BROZ has funding to cover for the next 5 or 7 years, and there's always the effort to find some local farmers, some local shepherds that then eventually can take over, or we could get some funding from the municipality once the project kind of gains public attention as well. And so it's a process that starts with usually funding for a limited period, and then once we get going, we try to look for other sources of funding to keep it long term. So I would say that this is the biggest challenge, but it's not impossible. And we've seen like BROZ has had success in other parts where they then bring in different stakeholders and they can carry on the project.
Okay. What about then, like the opposite? If that would be like challenges, what is the best case scenario? What are the like positive effects that you can foresee from this?
So the best case scenario is that we restore the whole woodland pasture, and this is what we're going to do. So by next time this year, we will have cleared around 17 hectares, and the animals will be grazing around 70 hectares of this habitat. And yes, so the best case scenario is that we will still see animals grazing there in 10 years, 20 years, that this will become really like a part of the protected area, and it will become something long-term and sustainable. There is a one farmer in the area that still keeps livestock, so hopefully we can get him excited, and then he can carry the work on.
Okay, and then that would save the butterflies.
Exactly. Yes. So the idea is to keep, because this is one of those conservation interventions where you need to keep the intervention going long term. It's not like a one-off thing, because if we graze for a couple of years and then we take the animals, the same thing will happen. So succession will start encroaching again, and we will start losing the flowering plants that we need. So in order to have this success long term, we need to keep these grazers there long term.
Yeah, we can't bring back the bisons.
Maybe one day, we can dream big. There is nothing stopping us from dreaming big and having big visions.
Yeah, maybe not. But okay, that sounds amazing. Sounds like a really nice place to visit one day with all the flowers and butterflies and sheep and goats.
Yes. So we'll be visiting when we have our Mossy team meetup in Slovakia.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
So I can show you
Okay.
guys around, and hopefully we'll see some nice butterflies as well. It's going to be,
Great.
you know, it's going to be the season for it. So yeah, we can explore the area, and it's, you know, there's also a tourist trail going through it, so people can visit, and people do visit quite regularly.
So our members can go see it also.
Exactly. If you're in the area, Beckovske Skalice, put it in your Google Maps, and definitely go have a look.
Nice. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I didn't have more questions than that, but that was amazing. It sounds really nice.
Yeah,
So
pleasure.
I look forward to seeing it in person soon, and hopefully also we will show some progress to our members soon as well.
Yes, we'll be filming a video and giving updates, and I want to talk more about the butterflies, also give some more information to our members about the species that are present, and all these interesting adaptations and life strategies that they have, and it's really interesting stuff. And I'm also in the process of learning about it, so I'll be sharing what I find.
Great, thank you. That was so nice. Okay.
Thank you for the chat.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.